Alright, y'all, if you've watched my recent stories or just been keeping up with my social media, you already know that the kid has been going through it. Last week was a pretty heavy and tough week for me, but there was a blessing disguised in all of that, and that's what led to this message right here, and that is fear versus faith. I truly believe that fear is an indication that we're on the right track, that we're doing something that is best for our individual evolution and expansion. We are stepping out of our comfort zone and into unfamiliar territory. What we often fail to realize as that's happening is that fear itself is faith in the opposition. When we worry or are anxious or are nervous, it's a form of prayer. We're praying for the worst, the negative, the things we don't want to happen to transpire. The other day or earlier this week, when I was feeling heavy-hearted and had to face and cope with this unbearable pain of grief, I had to make a choice and remember my purpose and reason for living. I had to let go and let God. Now, people always ask, how do I fully believe? How do I fully let go and let God? That's honestly a decision you have to make. Now, when thoughts arise that make you doubt that belief or that decision, you also have to remember that those are just thoughts. Thoughts are neither true or false. It is you that stipulates whether that thought is true or false. So you decide whether you want to believe, feed, and water that thought and allow it to grow and manifest. It is all in your power. You have to continue to choose faith in your belief in God. So, going back to my personal experience, I had to get down on my knees and literally beg and grovel for God to take this one on. Now, you don't have to do exactly that. However, or whomever you talk to, whether it's God, for me it's God, get on your knees, stand up, clasp your hands, raise your hands, however you get in contact and communicate with God, ask for help, fully surrender, and then give it all to God. In opposition, what if I make a mistake? What if I fail? Well, what if none of that transpires? What if I succeed? What if I come out on top? I am the filter between those thoughts. I decide which thoughts are to come through and hold true. I believe there's no such thing as failure. Everything is either a blessing or a lesson. So mistakes, rejections, failures, or losses, I find them as significant indicators of divine redirection. For me, what was happening that was so traumatic and heartbreaking that caused this form of grief that diverted the path with my perfect person to the perfect future, towards the perfect career. If it didn't happen and play out the way that it did, I wouldn't have gained my individual strength, healing, and overall growth in my evolution and expansion as Bianca. Everything happens for us and not to us. We as humans are too zoomed in. We need to zoom out and see the bigger and broader picture, that we're not alone and we can allow God to take on anything and everything for us. God is not in the elusive distance. There is no metaphysical limitation to where God, what God, or who God is. When we choose to be protected, guided, shielded, led, and equipped by God, we don't have to experience life in such a challenging physical level. We simply have to choose faith and not fear.